Okay class, so today we are going to start a chapter and the name of chapter is characteristics of living thing. So whenever we see around ourselves, we see many different plants and animals, and we also see human beings. And we see that plants are different in shape and sizes. Some are very big trees, some are very small plants, and animals also differentiate in shape and size. Like some are small insects, some are animals which can fly in the air, some are one which are very big like elephants, some live inside the water, some can fly, some live on the land. But one thing is sure, that all these are living things. But we also see some things around us which are non-living things. Like you see chair, table, you see cars and all. So those are separated from the one living. So those are different from the one which I just told you. So those come under the category of non-living things. Now, how can we separate which one is living thing and which one is non-living thing? So here is a list given to us. We will see living organisms have a cellular organization. So all living things are made out of cell. So living thing also, they have life processes. That means every living thing which is born, they have to die at some point. So and living thing, and another point is living thing, they have some life processes as given here: nutrition, respiration, excretion and reproduction. So non-living things, they are not able to do this. And and another point is living organism, they show movement. Like some cars and all, they move, but they are able to move because of the human beings. So if we drive the car, it is able to move. If we are able to drive the bike, it is able to move. Until and unless we do so, they don't move. And living organism, they grow and develop. That means few years back you were small, like 1 year before you were in class 6, now you are in class 7. So that means you are not only upgrade in your class, you have not only upgrade in your class, but also you have increase in your height, in your weight and all. So that is growth and development. They respond to stimuli. That means if someday you are feeling hot, you'll wear light clothes. If you are feeling cold, you are wearing warm clothes. That means you are responding to changes around yourself, and you have a lifespan. Like I said, if you are born at some point, you have to die someday. So these are the characteristics which differentiate living things from non-living things. Now we see cellular organism. Like I said, all living things, they are made out of cell. Now what is cell? Cell is a basic structural and functional unit of life. So cells are very small, which are not observed by our naked eyes but can be observed in microscope. So these cells, they are very small, and and because of this cell combining, that's how human beings are formed. So cell, they combine to form tissue, they combine to form organs, they combine to form organism. So it is the basic structural and functional unit of life. So that is cell. Now organisms are of two types: unicellular organism and unicellular organism. Okay, first one we will be doing is unicellular organism. Now, as the name suggests, unicellular organism, these are those organisms which just have one cell, like the bacteria, paramecium, amoebas and all. These are those organisms, they just have one cell, and because of that one cell, they are neither able to multiply and all, but they are just living with that one cell. That is your unicellular organism. The next one is multicellular organism. Now multicellular organism are those organisms which have more than one cell. Like we human beings, we are made out of more than one cell. So if we try to keep the track record of our cell in the body, there are millions and millions. And we also have examples like trees, animals and all. Those are also examples of unicellular organisms. So in this picture you can see the diagram of amoeba and paramecium. So they just have one cell. This is just the cell, and the other side you have example of multicellular organism, where it is shown tree and ant. Now we will see what are the things living organisms need in their life. So first one is nutrition. Nutrition means food which we eat for our growth and other purposes. Like plants, they make their own food by the process of photosynthesis, but animals, they are not able to make their own food. So that's why they depend upon plants and other animal for food. So what they do, because by getting that food, they are able to get energy, with the help of which they are able to do the other activities. Next one is respiration. Respiration, it is of two types. We will be discussing each individually. First one is external respiration and another one is internal respiration. So first, the external respiration. External respiration is the changing of gases between environment and us. Like we breathe out carbon dioxide and we take in oxygen. So this is an example of external respiration. Now internal respiration is quite different. Now in internal respiration, what usually happens, the food which we eat, those are broken down. Those are broken down with the help of oxygen which we take. So oxygen we are getting from plants, we take those oxygen, and those oxygen are able to break down the food which we eat into smaller substance, which are transferred to various part of our body, and through which we will be getting energy. So with the help of which we are getting energy, and this energy is carried out for various activities in our life, in our body. This is internal respiration. Now one thing is common in all living organism, that is internal respiration. Almost all the animals and plants, the internal respiration is same. That means they break, the food is broken down into smaller substance, and because of that they are able to gain energy. Various parts of the body are able to get energy, and they are able to perform life function. But one thing is different, that is external respiration. So the process by which we take in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide, that process varies in different animal. For instance, first of all we will see the difference in plants itself. So we take in oxygen through our nose, then it is transferred through lungs. But in plants, they do not have nose or lungs. They have a small opening in their leaves that is known as the stomata. In fish, that process is done with the help of gills. So fish are able to take in oxygen which are present in water. So like we are able to take oxygen that is present in the air. In the same way, we have animals like we have a group of animals known as amphibians, like a frog and all. So they are able to breathe through the lungs and through their skins. And we also have earthworm which live in the soil. So they are able to use the oxygen present in the soil, and they are able to breathe through their skins. So we see that external respiration varies in different plants and animals. Insects breathe through a special opening called spiracles. So in insects, they do not have lungs, but they have small holes in their body. Those are known as spiracles, so through which they breathe. So this is respiration. Now next thing is excretion. So excretion is removal of waste material from your body. So your body eats various food, and most of the part of the food are very useful for your growth and development. But there are some portion of those food which are not required from the body, so that are removed in the form of excreta. So usually if those substances get accumulated in your body, so instead of removing those instead of removing the substance, if you keep them in your body, it might be toxic for your body. So usually your ammonia, uric acids which comes from your urines and all, those are not useful for your body. So that's why they come out through your by the process of excretion. Again, carbon dioxide, that is also something which our body does not require. So we release carbon dioxide while breathing. Then if you are playing sports during the summer, you sweat a lot. So sometimes you might have by accidents and all, you might have, yes, the sweat might have entered your mouth. You find that the sweat is bit salty. So that means excess salt in your body is removed through sweat. So the things which are not required from our body, those are removed from our body, and this process is known as excretion. Now we have various we in our in human being and animals, we have various organ which are used for excretion, but in plants they do not have certain